Hello everyone, welcome to this lesson. In this video, we will introduce custom action and approval. We will learn how to select and configure appropriate workflow triggers based on different business requirements. At the same time, we will master how to configure custom actions to manually trigger workflows. We will proficiently use key data processing nodes such as get single data, create record, and update record to build complete business workflows. And we will understand and master the use of approval processes, including setting visible, editable, and required fields for different roles in each approval stage, as well as configuring automatic data updates within the workflow. Before we start with the hands-on operations, let's take a look at our scenario case. After experiencing the significant efficiency improvements brought by workflows, the HR team at MEGA Technology Ltd is excited about further digital transformation. They now aim to automate the employee regularization request process to reduce manual operations, improve approval efficiency, and ensure process compliance and traceability. The requirements are as follows. First, add a regularization reminder workflow. 1 week before the employee's expected regularization date, remind both HR and the employee and automatically create a draft regularization request. Second, add a regularization request and approval workflow. The employee fills in a summary of their probation work and submits it for approval to their department manager. Upon approval, the system should automatically update their employment status from probation to regular. Having understood these requirements, next, we will proceed step by step to demonstrate how to meet these needs in the application. On the upper right corner of the page, find the Open the Practice app button. Click this button and we will jump to the Employee Directory application. Let's configure the regularization reminder workflow now. The goal here is to remind HR and the employee 1 week before the expected regularization date and automatically create a draft regularization request. We need to add a field named Expected Regularization Date to the Employee Directory worksheet. To do this, locate the Employee Directory worksheet. Then, click on the 3 dots icon and select Edit Form. On the Form Design page, drag a date field to the middle canvas. Name this field Expected Regularization Date. Then click Save and click Close. Next, let's create a new worksheet. Name it Regularization Request. We will then set up the fields for this worksheet. First, let's remove the existing default fields by selecting them in bulk and clicking Delete. Now let's add the necessary fields. Add a relationship field and associate it with the employee directory. Name it Regularizing Employee. Since each regularization request corresponds to only one employee, select single row for the relationship quantity. Similarly, add another relationship field, associate it with the department worksheet, and name it Department. Again, select single row for the relationship quantity. For its default value, we can set it to other field values and select the department from the associated employee directory. Then, add a member field and name it Employee Account. Its default value can be set to the employee account from the associated employee directory. Next, add a single select field and name it Approval Status. The options should include Draft, In Approval, Approved and Rejected. Set the default value to Draft and make sure this field is read-only to prevent manual editing. Remember, in the subsequent workflow, we will configure it to automatically update its status as the approval progresses. Then add a text field, name it Probation Summary, and set it as multi-line text. And then add a date field. Name it Regularization Date. Its default value can be set to the expected regularization date from the associated employee directory. Add a member field and name it Department Manager. Its default value can be set to the department manager from the associated department. After that, add a text field, name it Manager Comments, and set it as multi-line text. Finally, add a concat field and name it Summary. This field will concatenate the regularizing employee's field value with the fixed text regularization request. Set this field as the title. For example, it will display as Tom's regularization request or Bob's regularization request. After the configuration, click Save and Close. Now, let's create the regularization reminder workflow. Click on the lightning bolt icon in the upper right corner. Create a new workflow and select Triggered by Date field. Choose the employee directory as the worksheet and select Expected Regularization Date from the employee directory as the trigger field. Set the trigger time to execute 7 days before the regularization date and set the trigger condition to employment status equals probation. Next, add a Get Single Data node. Select Get the Associated Records. The purpose here is to retrieve the department information associated with the employee directory. Therefore, select the employee directory triggered by the Date field as the object to get, and choose Department as the field. Following that, add an Add Record node. Select the Regularization Request worksheet and choose to add a new record. For the employee account, select the employee account from the Date-triggered object. Set the approval status to Draft. For the regularization date, select the expected regularization date from the Date-triggered object. For the department manager, select the department manager obtained from the associated department in the Get Single Data node. For the owner, select the employee account from the Date-triggered object. For the regularizing employee, select the employee directory from the Date-triggered object. For the department, select the associated department worksheet. By referencing from previous workflow node objects like this, data will be automatically populated. Finally, add a CC node. This node will forward the newly created draft regularization request to both HR and the employee, ensuring they receive timely reminders. Select the regularization request worksheet as the data object. For the CC recipients, select the HR application role and select the employee account from employee directory record of the Trigger by Date node. Set the notification content to. In 7 days, it will be the expected regularization date for this employee. Please pay attention and click Save. Once the workflow is configured, name it Regularization Reminder and click Publish. With that, the workflow is successfully configured. Next, let's configure the regularization request and approval workflow. This workflow will allow employees to fill in their probation summary, submit it for approval to their department manager, and upon approval, automatically update their employment status from probation to regular. First, open the regularization request worksheet. Click on the 3 dots icon, then select Set Worksheet, and choose Custom Action to add a new custom action. On the upper right corner, click on the Add button icon. Set the button label for this custom action to submit regularization request. You can also set an icon and color for the button if desired. Then, choose the action type as Fill in the form fields. The target for filling is the current record. Select to fill in specified fields and set the probation summary field as required. Make sure to check Continue Executing Workflow after submission. For the Active button setting, choose Conditional and set the condition to Approval Status is Draft. This ensures that the button can only be clicked when the approval status of the record is draft. After clicking Add button, you will automatically enter the workflow editing page. Here, add an Initiate Approval Flow node and select Create New Process. Once selected, an approval block will appear on the workflow canvas. Let's name this block Regularization Approval. Inside the approval block, add an Approve node and name it Department Manager Approval. Click Add an Approver and select the Department Manager from the regularization request of the Initiate Approval Flow node. In the Data Update tab, configure the following. When the node starts, set the approval status to In Approval. When the node is approved, set the approval status to Approved. When the node is rejected, set the approval status to Rejected. In the Field Settings tab, configure the Department Manager approval to require regularization date and manager comments as mandatory during the approval process. After configuring the approval block, add a branch node outside of it. This branch node will determine the flow based on the approval result. Set the left branch condition as follows. The approval result of the initiate approval flow equals approve. Set the right branch condition as follows. The approval result of the initiate approval flow equals reject. Under the branch where the approval result is approve, add a get single data node. Select get the associated records. The purpose is to retrieve the employee directory associated with the regularization request. Select regularization request as the object to be retrieved and select regularizing employee as the associated field. Finally, add an update record node. Set the update target as the employee directory retrieved from the get the associated records node and update the employment status field to regular. After completing all these configurations, publish it. Through our settings, we can achieve the following. 7 days before the employee's expected regularization date, the workflow will automatically create a draft regularization request and CC it to the employee and HR. The employee can fill in probation summary, submit the regularization request, and after approval by the department manager, the employment status of this employee will be updated automatically from probation to regular. All right, that's all for this lesson. Thanks for your watching.